not sure what's going on. But 11.6 spheres. So volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Surface area is 4 pi r squared. Both of these will be given to you. You do not have to memorize them. They will be on your formula sheet. You do not have to memorize them. Do you have to memorize them? No. You do have to know what the letters mean. What does R mean? Radius. You have to know V means volume, and then on it says SA. So the SA means surface area, correct? So it doesn't say volume, it just says V equals. And it doesn't say surface area, it says SA. But other than that, you get the rest of the formula for your test. Okay? So your first few problems, so this will be problems 1 through 3, it says find the volume and surface area. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to determine your radius. What is my radius of this sphere? My radius would be 12. So from here to here would be 12. Then you would plug it into your volume formula. Volume equals 4/3 pi times 12 to the 3rd power. Now, you should use my calculators today. So today your equations are in terms of pi. And so what you're going to do is you're going to do 4/3 times 12 to the 3rd. So you would type in 4 divided by 3 times 12, and then the up arrow button is how you do your big exponents. So you'd hit up arrow 3, or you could hit times 12 times 12 times 12. You could do it 3 times if you wanted, or you can use that up arrow button. The up arrow button is kitty corner from the 7. Okay, so it's right there. It looks like a, I don't know, upside down carrot. Okay, and from that you get 2,304, and then you would stick your pi on the end. Okay, you will get decimals as you do these today. If you do get decimals, just put, like, if it's 0.3 repeating, put 0.3 with a line over it. If it's 0.6 repeating, put 0.6 with a line over it. So then let's do our surface area. For surface area, it would be 4 pi times 12 squared. So again, you're going to take the 4 and the 12 squared part. You're going to leave pi alone. So that'd be 4 times 144. So that is 576 pi. And those would be your volume and your surface area. Do you guys feel like you need another one like that? So again, this is problems 1 through 3 today. The next are going to be, I think it's 4, 5, and 6. So it says you have a sphere with circumference 50 feet. What this wants you to do is it wants you to find your volume and your surface area. Okay, so we're still finding volume and surface area, but it doesn't give us our radius or our diameter. So the first thing you have to do here is you have to set your circumference equal to your circumference formula. So you're going to do 50 equals 2 pi r. You would divide each side by 2. Causes that 2 to cancel, so 25 equals pi r. And then when you divide each side by pi, you get a radius equaling, and I'm going to use my pi button. I get 7.96. So 7.96 is my radius. Okay, now if you rounded that to 8, I'm okay with that. Okay, just make sure you show your work as you're rounding. But I'm going to round it to 7.96. Then, after you find your radius, then you're ready to plug it into volume and surface area. So then my second step is to say volume equals 4/3 pi times 7.96 to the third power. And surface area equals 4 pi times 7.96 squared. So at that point then, you're going to plug it into your volume and surface area formulas that you see above. So when you plug those in, 4 divided by 3 times 7.96 to the third power is 672.5. So 672.5 pi, okay, is the approximate size of that one. And then you would do 4 times 7.96 squared, which gets you 253.4 pi. Okay, so again, when I plug this in, I plugged this and this in. This one I plugged this and this in. Okay. I would like you to try this one on your own. Do a sphere with circumference of 150. So try that one on your own and see how it goes. So the first step that you need to do is the same first step as up here. But instead of 50 here, you're going to do 150. So your first step is 150 equals 2 pi r. Dividing by 2 gets you 75 equals pi r. And then you would divide by pi. When you do that, you get 23.87, so I'm going to say that your radius is 23.9. Okay, if you use 24, that's okay. As long as you show work on your test and I can see how you rounded, you'll be good to go. So your radius is 23.9. Your second step then is to do 4/3, so this is for volume, pi times 23.9 to the third power. And then you need to plug into surface area, which is 4 pi times 23.9 squared. Okay, so for your volume, you get approximately 18,203 pi. Okay, so if you're within 100 of that, if you're anywhere between 18,103 and 18,303, you're close, okay? Because that's such a big number, being off by 100 is not a big deal, okay? And then for your surface area, you should have approximately 2,285 pi, okay? For that one, if you're off by like 50, you're in the general area, okay? All right. Next type. It says find the diameter of a sphere with volume 36,000 pi. 36,000 pi. So your volume equals 36,000 pi. Make sure you read what they ask because they do mix in surface area today, but surface area is easier because you're just dividing by 4 and then pi and square rooting. Okay? So volume equals, and then we'd write down our volume formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. We have a pi on each side. What does that mean we can do with those pi's? We can cancel them out. Because if you divide each side by pi, your pi's cancel. So if you ever see pi on each side, you can just cancel them out if you want to, or you can show that you divided by pi and they cancel that way. It's up to you. So now we're left with 36,000 equals 4/3 r to the third power. How do you get rid of a 4/3? There's actually two ways you can do it. Most people prefer I divide each side by 4/3. Okay? So most people prefer to divide by 4/3. If you are going to divide by 4/3, you need to put 4/3 in parentheses when you plug it into your calculator. So you need to put this around 4/3 when you plug it into your calculator. Okay? The other thing you could do is you could multiply each side by 3/4, multiply by the reciprocal, and then the 4/3 and the 3/4, the 3's would cancel, the 4's would cancel. You can do it that way if you want. Okay, but most people like the divide by 4/3. Just make sure that when you divide by a fraction, you put it in parentheses, which gets you 27,000 equals r to the third power. Now, if we had r squared, how do we get rid of a square? What do we do to each side? We square root, right? To get rid of a squared, you square root. To get rid of a third power, or a cubed is what we call it, you cube root, meaning that you put a square root with a little 3 in front of it. And that's called a cube root. Now, how you plug that into your calculator is you hit the number 3, hit second, and then this up arrow button that's kitty corner from the 7. Okay? And then type in 27,000. Okay? You should get 30. You would do math. See how you have them. Okay, so you hit the math button. All right. Does anyone need help figuring out how to plug it in? Okay. So just a reminder, you should get 30. Then it says diameter, so diameter would be 60. So 60 would be your final answer. So 3, and then see this x square root? That's the one you want. So you hit second up arrow. It should look like that. And then 27. Okay. So in your calculator, what it looks like if you plug it in correctly is it should look like 3, and then it should have an x in front of that square root, and then 27,000. You will have one like this on your test. So was anyone not able to plug it in? So it says, find the radius of a sphere with volume 2,304 pi. I'd like you to try that one on your own. Okay, see if you can follow the same process that we did above. See if you can do that one on your own. So you would get volume equals 2,304 pi, which equals 4/3 pi r cubed. So you would divide each side by pi. So you get 2,304 equals 4/3 r to the third power. Now again, there's a couple of different ways to solve this, but I would recommend dividing and putting 4/3 in parentheses. Okay, anytime you divide by a fraction, it should go in parentheses when you divide. When you do that, you get 1,728 equals r to the third power. So you would cube root each side to get r is 12. Okay? All right, last one. It says find the volume of the given composite figure. Okay, so this one, it has a cylinder with a hemisphere cut into it. Okay, so it's a cylinder, and then this hemisphere cuts into it, is what's happening. Remember, when you have composite figures, you're either adding or subtracting, and you should decide right away which one you're doing. In this case, are you going to add those or are you going to subtract them? Subtract. Because if you have a shape within a shape and it's cutting it out, you're going to subtract. If you have a shape on top of the other shape, that's when you're going to add. So this would be an addition. This one's a subtraction because it's cutting into it. You're only worrying about volume here. So what we need to do is we need to find the volume of the cylinder and subtract it the volume of the hemisphere. So let's start with the volume of a cylinder. The volume of a cylinder is the area of the base times the height of your cylinder. The base of this is a circle. So the area formula for the base is pi r squared times whatever the height is of our cylinder. What is the radius of our cylinder? Should be 3, right? So you're going to do pi times 3 squared times 5. I am going to use the pi button on this. Okay, so I'm going to do pi times 3 squared times 5, which gets me 141.4. Then you need to do the volume of the hemisphere. Now, if it's a whole sphere, it's 4/3 pi r cubed. What if you have half a sphere? What do you have to multiply that by? You have to times it by a half. So if it's a hemisphere, it's going to be 1/2, 4/3 pi, and then it's r cubed, so it's going to be 3 to the 3rd power. And then you would type that in. So 1/2 times 4/3 times my pi button times 3 to the 3rd gets me 56.5. And then remember I said you would subtract those. So I do 141.4 minus 56.5, which is 84.9. So 84.9 is the volume of that leftover part from the hemisphere being cut off. Okay, we're not going to do the next one. The only difference is we add them instead of subtracting them. I'm going to give you some work time, okay? So your assignment is 11.6 worksheet. 11.6 worksheet.